friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 22nd of March and we are going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. First is the solar waste. Solar waste is any waste coming out of the solar power generation sector. It can be at the level of manufacturing of solar panels or when they are deployed in the field and undergone their life cycle of generating solar power. India currently has 66.7 gigawatts of solar power capacity and is generating around 100 kilotons of solar waste. It is expected to generate around 600 kilotons of solar waste by 2030, where India aims to have 500 gigawatts generation capacity from the renewable sector, which will be dominated by the solar power. So we need to look into this and manage this waste in a diligent manner. Second is Delhi liquor policy scam. Now, as we all know, the Delhi Chief Minister has been arrested by ED. Why? Because his alleged involvement in the Delhi liquor policy scam. The excise policy pertaining to liquor was changed by the Delhi government in 2021-22, where it brought the private sector into the wholesale level and private level distribution of liquor. Preferences, or I would say, preferential treatment were given to the private sector by the government in terms of, delayed and extensions of licensing fees, waiving off certain penalties, or giving them, grants under the COVID-19 disruptions. In return, the political party was asking for some favors. That was the scam, which led to multiple political leaders like Manish Sisodia into the jail, and now Arvind Kejriwal is also there. Although the investigations are still ongoing, and let's see what the courts say on that. Next is the World Happiness Report. This report is released annually by one of the agencies of United Nations. This has 6 parameters which it considers. First is GDP per capita. Next is life expectancy rate. Third is having someone to look up to. Fourth is generosity. Fifth is freedom to make life choices. And sixth is freedom for, having any difficulties in the old age group. So India has been ranked at 126th position, Finland first, and Afghanistan last. India's ranking last year was somewhere also hovering around this position. We need to increase our performance on these six parameters if we have to, climb up the ladder over here in this index. So let's get started and see what is solar waste first, which is going to be our first topic. Now, India generated around 100 kilotons of solar waste in this financial year 2022-23, according to a new study. The amount of solar waste produced by the country is expected to reach 600 kilotons by 2030. These are the projections. Current solar capacity of India is somewhere around 66.7 gigawatt, and with this capacity we are generating 100 kilotons of solar waste, and in the future by 2030 we are expected to have 292 gigawatts being produced from the solar power. Obviously, when the amount of electricity being generated from solar panels will increase to this level, that is 292 gigawatts from the present 66.7 gigawatts, the solar waste will also increase, and that is why 100 tons to 600 100 kilotons to 600 kilotons. This is the projection for 2030. Now let us understand what solar waste is. Technically, going by the definition of solar waste, it is the waste generated at 2 levels. First is generated during manufacturing of solar panels, and second is wastes from the field. Now we will look into the details that what is the waste generated during manufacturing. It involves 2 streams of waste during manufacturing. First is scrap that is produced from the factories. Second is the waste generated from PV modules failing to quality tests. There will be some photovoltaic modules or solar panels, which we call them, they will fail the quality tests and they will be wasted. So that should also be counted under solar waste. So while manufacturing, these 2 things, scrap and the failure of those photovoltaic panels from the quality tests. Then second is wastes from the field. Those solar panels which have qualified this quality test, they will be deployed in the fields, they will be generating electricity. So from that field, where the waste is generated? Waste generated during transporting and handling. Let's suppose during transportation and handling, certain panels get destroyed. That will also be counted under solar waste. Waste produced due to damage incurred by solar modules during their lifetime. During their lifetime, certain waste is generated, certain, parts undergo breakdown, they are replaced. So that is there. Next is when the modules reach their end of life and are not usable anymore. Obviously, they will be contributing to solar waste. So this study, which was done by an environmental think tank in India, which is saying that for 2022-23, 100 kilotons of solar waste was there, and by 2030, 600 kilotons of solar waste will be there. That solar waste is this solar waste from the field. It has not taken into account the solar waste from manufacturing. If this is also taken into account, then the figure will be much higher than 100 kilotons and 600 kilotons in 2030. So this is what we need to understand. The findings, the study which says that 100 kilotons of solar waste was generated and 600 kilotons of solar waste will be generated in 2030, only focused on waste from the field. That is the second part. Now, by 2030, what is the first point? India's current installed solar capacity will be around 340 kilotons. It will generate around 340 kilotons. Now, you might be confused ki, just now I was saying by 2030, 600 kilotons will be generated. Now I am saying 340 kilotons will be generated by 2030. Current installed solar capacity, which is there already installed, that will generate 340, and from now till 2030 there will be some additional installed capacity also, because we have to reach to 292 gigawatts from the present 67 gigawatts. So considering that additional installed capacity, it will be around 600 kilotons. I'll come to this, don't worry. Which is 3 times more than the present. Around 67% of this waste is expected to be produced by the states including Rajasthan, Gujarat, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. So you can see from this particular figure, the orange line is from Rajasthan, which has currently the largest solar power capacity and expected to increase in the future also. The green line is from Gujarat, second highest presently. Blue line from Karnataka at the third spot. Then the grey one, dark grey is from Tamil Nadu and light grey from silver one from Andhra Pradesh. So these are the top 5 states which will be generating solar waste. Now the aforementioned states also plan to expand their solar capacity in the times to come. So their solar waste generating capacity will also increase. Then next point which I was talking about, the cumulative waste from existing and new capacity. See, this is from the existing capacity 340 kilotons. From 2024 till 2030, that is from now till 2030, there will be additional solar panels which will be installed. So cumulative waste from existing and new capacity deployed between FY24 and FY30 will reach about 600 kilotons by 2030. That figure is 600 kilotons according to the report. Now, by 2050 it will increase to 19,000 kilotons, and 77% of which will be generated from new capacities. Now, this is something which has to be looked into. We need to bring in circularity at this level as well. Now, as the discarded modules contain minerals and silicon, copper, tellurium and cadmium, all these minerals are classified as critical minerals by the government. What are critical minerals? Critical minerals are those minerals which are very much important for the economic growth of any country and security of any country. From these two perspectives, those minerals which are extremely important are classified as critical minerals. Now, all these minerals are classified as critical minerals by the government. Countries' economic development and national security have to be ensured by these minerals. That is why they are classified as critical minerals. The study focused on them. Now, the 340 kilotons waste expected to be produced by 2030 would consist of 10 kilotons of silicon, 12 to 18 tons of silver and 16 tons of cadmium and tellurium. And these can be reused. So we need to recycle them. We need to, treat them in certain way, this solar waste, that we can extract these critical minerals from that solar waste and those critical minerals can be reused. This will lead to less mining, and if we are dependent upon any foreign country for these minerals, our dependency will also reduce them. So we need to think in this direction right from now. Now, how to deal with solar waste? First is maintain a comprehensive database of installed solar capacity, which would help in estimating solar waste. Then, next is policymakers should incentivize recyclers and push stakeholders to effectively manage the growing solar waste. So, incentivization has to be there. Then, report has talked about two broad ways of recycling solar panels. First is conventional recycling or bulk material recycling, which involves mechanical processes like crushing, sieving, and shearing of the waste. While majority of the recycled material consists of glass, aluminium, and copper, more valuable materials like silver and silicon cannot be recovered through this particular method of conventional recycling. For recovering of these, critical minerals like silver and silicon, we need the other way of recycling known as the high value recycling. So these kind of materials like glass, aluminium, and copper can be recovered from that conventional method. But elements like silver, silicon, they have to be recovered by or through high value recycling. So what should ideally be done? It should be a mix of both conventional methods of recycling and second is high value recycling, so that high value recycling will help us in recovering metals like silver and silicon, and the conventional ones will be helping in recovering elements like glass, aluminium and all. So this should be a double or two-pronged strategy of recycling the solar waste. And that is going to be very, very important, especially in this viewpoint where more than 1 crore houses in the country right now have applied for the Pradhan Mantri Suryodaya Yojana, where the solar panels will be installed on the rooftop of those houses. So, solar waste will be generated more and more in the times to come, and people should have a way of dealing with it. Next is Delhi liquor policy scam. The Delhi Chief Minister, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, has been arrested, and this happened last night. Actually, during the daytime, they approached the Delhi High Court and the Delhi High Court has refused to grant him interim protection from the coercive action by ED or coercive action of ED. So the High Court has also said that if ED finds this person guilty or the political party or anyone guilty of alleged corruption during that Delhi liquor policy scam, they should be arrested and punished. Now, what is the scam? We need to understand that. As aspirants, there will be a lot of political masala news over the internet or in the newspapers with respect to this, but we have to restrict ourselves to the core issue, that is the scam. And in order to understand the scam, first of all, we need to understand what excise duty is. Excise duty is an indirect tax. Whenever any good manufactured in the country moves out of the gate of the factory where it is manufactured, on the gate of the factory, the government levies one tax on that product. And that tax is called as excise tax or excise duty. So let's suppose this pen, when it is manufactured in the factory, its cost is 10 rupees and it is moving out of the factory gate. So the government will levy excise duty on it of 2 rupees. So when it comes out of that particular factory, that cost is 12 rupees. So you might have seen inclusive of all taxes, and inclusive of all taxes, the major tax is excise tax or excise duty on that. Now the question comes that who levies, which level of government can levy excise tax? Central government or the state government? Actually, both can levy. There are certain products which have been divided, like for example, liquor or alcohol, we say. The state government levies excise duty on that. That is why, you see the prices of liquor different in every state. And majority of the indirect taxes have been subsumed under the goods and services tax, but excise duty on liquor has not been subsumed under GST because it is considered as one of the major streams of revenue of the state governments. And the Delhi government, having access to the excise duty on liquor, tried to revamp this particular scheme or this particular policy, because Delhi government had all the powers to do that with respect to excise duty on liquor. And in all this, this scam was created. Now, what is this scam? We'll understand. Delhi liquor scam is a political scandal concerning the Delhi government, which paved its way through the introduction of Delhi's excise policy from 2021 to 22. It was created by the ruling Aam Aadmi Party, and when it was created, it was told by the Aam Aadmi Party to the public that it is going to benefit the exchequer of rupees 9500 crore rupee. It will boost the revenue of the state government. This is what they said. Now, what were the changes done by them in this excise policy? The policy brought in private firms and enterprise companies into the retailed liquor sectors. Now, retail shops for liquor distribution in Delhi largely were owned by the government, but a few private players were there. But it was liquidating it and inviting the private players and withdrawing itself completely from the retail distribution. So, introduction of private players at the retail level, this was one such reform. The retail players will come, they will apply for license, the government will earn license fees from them. They may also entail other costs as taxes which have to be paid by them to the government. So government was withdrawing itself from liquor distribution at the retail level. This was one such, I would say, reform. And during all this, government gave a lot of, I would say, favors to the owners and shareholders of the private sectors. Waivers and reduction of license fees, creation of numerous licenses to all the incoming enterprises, and with this, bribery was taken by the Aam Aadmi Party from those private players. Now, this return of money did not go to the government exchequer, but it went to the Aam Aadmi Party. This is alleged by Enforcement Directorate. So this is one such, I would say, level of change which was done. Another level of change was done at the wholesale level. What was that change? We'll discuss that as well. Now two cases, one by CBI and one by ED for money laundering, has been registered in relation to the excise policy. The case arose out of a report submitted by the Delhi Chief Secretary Mr. Naresh Kumar to the Lieutenant Governor Vinay Kumar Saxena in July 2022, pointing to alleged procedural lapses in the formulation of the excise policy. So it was the Delhi Chief Secretary which highlighted these kind of irregularities in this new excise policy to the Lieutenant Governor, and from there on these investigations and all started. Now the report said arbitrary and unilateral decisions were taken by the then Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia in his capacity as Excise Minister and resulted in financial losses to the exchequer estimated at more than 580 crore rupees. So, instead of increasing the revenue for the government, there were losses incurred of 580 crore rupees because these people were giving favors to the private players in return of bribery from them. Now, how did the exchequer lost money? Business owners who were invited for retail level distribution were given or they received preferential treatment such as discounts and extensions in the license fees, waiver on penalties, relief due to disruptions caused by COVID-19 pandemic. These were the favors received by the private players, and that is why, the exchequer did not receive money. Now, this is at the retail level. Now, there were some changes done at the wholesale level also. At the wholesale level, there were already, private players involved. And it was fixed that those private players have to give, gain around 7% of the profit. It was fixed by the government. Generally, it was fixed. Now, ED alleged that the scam was at the wholesale level also, and it was to give the wholesale liquor business to private entities and fix a 12% margin instead of 7% or 6% which was already there. Now this increased percentage of margin, that is 6% increased margin, had to be given as kickback to the Aam Aadmi Party. Means had to be given as kind of, commission or kind of, I would say, a bribe to the Aam Aadmi Party. And here, multiple private entities belonging to South India were involved. And that is why you see arrest of, the daughter of Telangana Chief Minister, K. Kavita, she has been arrested in this case. Then an MP, an MP's son has been arrested from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana region. So these private players from southern India, they are popularly known as Southern Group in this particular case. So they were involved, and they gave around 100 crore rupees as kickback to the Aam Aadmi Party. And guess what? This 6% kickback had to regularly be given to the Aam Aadmi Party, so it would have generated a regular stream of revenue for the political party. Because liquor, as it gets sold, this 12% will be there and will be given back. The increased amount would definitely be passed on to the end customer. This 6% to 12% margin, it would have been passed on to the customer. It would be like this. Now, in its first prosecution complaint in November 2021, the ED said the policy was formulated with deliberate loopholes that promoted cartel formations through the back door to benefit AAP leaders. ED also alleged that AAP leaders received kickbacks to the tune of rupees 100 crore from a group of individuals identified as the South Group, as I told you. So, that is basically the scam, and investigations are still there, still on in its advanced stages, and let's see what the courts say. The Aam Aadmi Party politicians, obviously, they have been condemning this arrest, and they have been pinpointing towards one more important topic for us aspirants, that is misuse of central agencies. They believe that the ruling party in the center is misusing central agencies like CBI and ED. So this is what they have been blaming on the government. So let's see, let's watch. And the role of courts, the role of judiciary is going to be extremely important in this context. So let us see what happens. Next is the World Happiness Report. The World Happiness Report for 2024 was released earlier this week. Top 10 countries remained the same as they were. Finland remains to be the happiest country. But yes, one remarkable, I would say, shift was seen in this year's report. United States and Germany, they were always among the top 20 countries, but they have slipped down to 23rd and 24th position respectively. Means United States is 23rd most happiest country in the world, and Germany is the 24th most happiest country in the world. Where does India rank? India ranks 126 in the list out of 143 countries, clearly citing the fact that we are not so happy. And Afghanistan remains at the bottom of the list, that is at 143rd position. So this is basically the thing. Now about this report, it is published annually by United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network in partnership with Gallup, the Oxford Wellbeing Research Center. It is a fact which we should know. It takes into account 6 variables: GDP per capita, healthy life expectancy, having someone to count on, freedom to make life choices, generosity, and freedom from corruption. And through the ages, this is seen. Means whenever the surveyors with respect to this group, this particular report, they are surveying, they are taking into account the data. They survey or they take into account the data from multiple age group people, from young to old. And a unique finding about India is that the males in India who are educated and retired now are very happy. The females are not happy, and that in the higher age group. This is one unique finding about India. And generally, those countries which happen to be the happiest countries, these top 10 countries which you can see over here, there, the older age group are happy, whether males or females. The young ones are also happy. That is why they are there in top 10. So in this top 10, you will see Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Sweden. These are Scandinavian countries. Then Israel also is there at number 5 position, which is under turmoil since October 2023. Netherlands, Norway, Luxembourg, Switzerland, and Australia. Most of the countries in top 10 are from Europe. So, per capita income is good over there. Corruption is not there. All these things are there. Having someone to count upon. Actually, if those people do not have their family members to count upon, they can definitely count upon their government. The government definitely comes in support of those people. And these countries are experiencing population aging as well, because they are in the advanced stages of development. So the government gives a lot of pension to those people, and their medical expenses are covered, insurance is there given by the government to these people. So they have a very relaxed life. They are happy about it. This is what the gross happiness index reveals. And with this, we come to an end of today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Namaste. Jai Hind.